Introducing the latest innovation in music production technology, a literal busted tape recorder. Take your boring vanilla recordings from this to this. Instant lo-fi filter to make any below average musician, like myself, sound way more artsy and misunderstood, all by relying on every hipster's buzzword when they have no better way to describe something. I'm talking about the aesthetic. Alright, all jokes aside, no, I don't actually have any disrespect for lo-fi. In fact, I do like it. In a digital age where things can be produced near perfect to the point of sterilization, lo-fi represents that nostalgic crunchiness and texture often still has more character. I mean, it's so strong, kids who are young enough to have never even used physical music, let alone tapes, still take interest in it. Now, ironically, almost all modern lo-fi music uses digital effects to give an illusion of analog distortion. But why not just use the real thing? This here is my Panasonic RQ340, an 80s portable tape recorder. It's boxy, retro, and being one of the early portable models, it's much chunkier than you may think. Despite its heft, it's pretty bare on features, having no external mic input and being mono only. Even the headphone jack is mono, meaning any modern headphones won't work properly. But it's still got all your basic controls: play, stop, fast forward, rewind, and record, each activated by a very beefy button. Man, listen to that. Not only does it click, but it thunks and it snaps. This is a tangent, but what happened? Why do so many electronics have mushy buttons or these terrible no feedback sensor buttons now? Do people actually prefer this? If it wasn't for the artificial beeps, I wouldn't even know I hit it right. No, this was a time when making something look futuristic didn't mean making it minimal. It meant adding lines and angles everywhere. Oh, and make any holes like the speaker and mic look like vents. Heck, it's like those weren't enough either, so they had to add another fake vent-looking thing on the side here too. This thing looks like it belongs on a spaceship. I feel like pressurized smoke should flow out when I open it. Now, there are in fact tape systems that can produce quality sound. However, this model is not that. On top, this particular unit I have is actually defective and past its warranty period. But in the spirit of lo-fi, that's what makes it special. After 40 plus years of age, I think mine has a worn and inconsistent belt speed, which gives recordings a unique waviness. It's something you just have to hear for yourself to get. Crazy, right? Instant, authentic, lo-fi filter. What you call defective, I call character. Now, one way to use this is as straightforward as it gets. Just take any song and play it directly into the recorder. So, let's bust out the Josh and Tosh and make some music. Yeah, that sounds like shit. Let's ship it out. This song and technique is actually what's used in my short film I shot on an 80s VHS camcorder, because naturally, it fit the vibe and period, so check that out if you want to hear the full thing. This method is good if you want a total retro garage band or oldies sound, but it is a very heavy effect for a full song, and thus only makes sense for specific usages, like my VHS short film. Or more conservatively, it could be used for short parts of a larger song, like an intro, outro, or maybe a bridge. Now, rather than having the tape crunchiness over the entire track, what you'll notice with more typical lo-fi hip-hop is the amount of distortion and effects are varied across each individual instrument. Most often, the drum and bass have the least amount of distortion in order to drive a clean rhythm, while stuff like the melody or chords have the crazier effects. So let's crank up the aesthetic and vibe out. This isn't a genre I usually work with, so I'm gonna keep things simple and use some chords I already know. To mix things up though, I'll start with a piano instead of guitar. Now some drum. Again, simple, but I'll rely on the kick drum to give the actual groove. While I have that in mind, I'll also do the bass, just keeping a similar rhythm to the drum and using root notes from the chords but with some little mix-ups in there. And then of course the melody. Now, it's not lo-fi without some questionably obtained samples. However, given YouTube's copyright detection, I'm not risking it. But I'll throw in some ambient audio from my Japan trip footage to give some extra vibe. With all the main components of the song done, I'll just rearrange things for an intro and outro, then pass some of the individual isolated tracks to the tape recorder. Then, back into the song. I ended up only applying the tape effect to the guitar and piano, again keeping the drum and bass clean to drive the beat. For the guitar, I liked the full tape distortion, but for the piano it was a bit much when stacked with the guitar, essentially doubling the noisiness. So for the piano part of the main section, I overlaid the original clean piano and basically went half and half on their volumes to give a bit of the tape effect, but not be too much. And now, sad boys and sad girls, here's our bedroom pop type beat. God, I could chill/study/relax to that 24/7. So is a tape recorder actually useful for lo-fi music? Well, from a romanticist perspective, the grainy imperfections of the authentic tape recording perfectly help represent the fragile imperfections of the human emotions, giving a deep and relatable sadness to the music. Now, from an actual practical standpoint, is a tape recorder worth it? Sort of. The effect is cool and it's real, though at the same time it's not very controllable. For better or worse, not every tape recorder is going to sound like mine, and what you get is what you get. Unlike a modern audio plugin effect, you can't tweak settings on it other than any mixing done in your DAW. But I guess you could argue that's sort of the point in itself. Similar to how some people like shooting old film cameras, the unpredictable imperfections are what makes it cool and unique. Whether it's with this or anything else, I say focusing on style and experimentation is far more interesting and creative than chasing technical perfection or sticking to the same thing every time. So, though this tape recorder may not be applicable to every case, when you want that specific worn retro sound, it doesn't get much cooler than using the real thing. Thanks for watching. For more retro content, check out my 2 videos about my Josh & Tosh, a full modern gaming PC built out of a vintage Macintosh. I also have a VHS short film that features music from this very tape recorder, plus a behind the scenes. All these videos are linked below, so check them out. Or else.